Call the community service meeting together at 3:35. And Frankie, if you
Would all bow our heads, please? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you have blessed us with. We ask for wisdom and guidance as we take care of today's business. And I pray that all decisions that are made in the best interest of the Cherokee people. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Roll call.
Dick White,
Here.
Frankie Hargis,
Present.
Bill England, Jack Baker,
Here.
Joe Bird, Julia Coates, Jody Fishinghawk, here. Meredith Fraley, here. Janelle Fulbright, here. Don Garvin, Chuck Hoskins Jr.,
Here.
Tana Glory Jordan,
Present.
Lee Keener, Curtis Snell,
Here.
David Thornton, David Walkingstick, Kara Callan Watts. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to ask for approval of minutes.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Reports will go to Marshall Lamb.
I put in front of you guys a map that one of those last me to do. Keep from showing favoritism. I did everybody one. This shows all the food distribution and the elder nutrition site. On the back, it will give their addresses and telephone numbers. This is just an information thing for you guys. Oh, anyway.
Does this have anything to do with food pantries? Nothing? Do you have anything on food pantries?
I have a list. I don't know how outdated it is. It's actually wasn't under me. It was under the food pantry program was actually under Ginger Brown, but we keep our own list, which I shared with her. But I can get you that list if you would like.
I would appreciate it, but I'm not sure the ones that are on it from that list.
Okay.
You did? I asked for it.
Thank you. I don't have much to go over. I did want to announce that I have implemented 3 initiatives within Human Services, and they are customer service, accountability, and understanding of our Cherokee people. And the customer service, of course, goes with how we're going to treat our tribal members when they come in for services. But also how we work together well. You know, if we're not nice to each other, then we can't be nice to the members who come in. So we're doing that. Accountability basically is you are paid a salary here to do a certain job, and we want to make sure that you are doing that job and being accountable for your work hours and stuff. The understanding is basically cultural awareness of how we were raised, all of us. Myself, I wasn't raised in a cultural community, even though I lived all around those that were. And so we have reallocated or redirected staff member to go around to our staff and do storytelling, some basic history stuff, and just to make them aware. And then we're going to expand those for our elderly nutrition sites for our elders. But we're going to emphasize this for our own staff because just to make them aware that they might not understand exactly how it was to be raised Cherokee and have the background. And anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing that go out. We did receive a grant for the tribal, maternal, infant, and early childhood home visiting program. And this is a one-year planning grant. And so we will, this involves health, and we'll be working very closely with them because it's to get our tribal members that are in the home from 0 to 5 years of age, get them more healthy. And also within child care. This is, we're getting staff on board, and we're, instead of advertising, we're going to work with them, but just because it takes so long to get somebody hard, and this is just a 1-year planning operation. We're just getting our own people together to do the planning. What we'll do is we will get all the research from all the 14 counties, and then we will target one area. And then we will do the work out in that area. That's what the grant emphasizes. And so I'll keep you give you information how that progress is going. The count for the final count for the school clothing voucher was 6881, and so we're gearing up for the coat vouchers, and also Angel Tree will be right behind that, and that's always an ongoing process. That's all I have really to report.
Frankie?
Well, you just answered, or partially answered my one question was, are we going to do the coat vouchers? How will that be handled in the same way as it was
What
last
we'll
year?
do is we'll take the names that we already have. Well, we are looking at sites now, and we will let them know exactly where we're going to be and when. And then if money allows, then we'll come back in and open it up to everybody. But right now, we're just working with those because.
Okay, I had a mother ask me about this, and she said that last year that they were called before the letters went out or whatever, and her number has changed. Can she call and update her number? Would that be better, or are you just going to send that letter?
Why don't you give me that information?
Okay.
Email it, and I'll forward it on.
Okay, and another question is, I have a couple of college students that are interested in doing some of their volunteer work with the Angel Tree program. On the days that you take applications, I know that'll be starting, I think, next week. Is there opportunities for them, or would they better be suited to wait until you do the shopping and the wrapping?
Let me recheck that, but our Angel Tree really doesn't start until Black Friday because that's kind of our kickoff, and of course that's coming up pretty fast.
The application process starts next week, right?
Right.
And if there's any opportunity for them to help with that, then they're interested in that.
How many you have? Two?
I have 2 or 3 that are interested in it.
I do better with emails, what you email me.
All right, they're all in Stillwell, but I'll email you about it. Thank you.
Jeanette?
Thank you. I think Frankie's question, more or less, you answered it, but the people that already got the clothing voucher previously are more or less automatically signed up to get the coats.
Well, they're not signed up, they are contacted to come in.
And renew.
And renew,
Oh,
basically.
okay.
We're trying to make it a simple process to
Okay,
do.
that's kind of what I wanted, so they need to watch the papers in case they don't
Yeah,
get
we already
notified.
have everything. You know.
Okay.
And as I get the information, I'll send it to Diane if you would like.
So there might be a possibility of you taking a few new ones.
Well, there's always that possibility.
Okay. I had a lady call me and she just adopted her nephew and she didn't, I don't know why, but she didn't find out about the clothing voucher originally. So I need to give her a call. I might
Yeah.
email you.
We need her. Everything's usually by the child when we're dealing with children, but I would give her name and address and telephone number
Okay,
to
I'll email it to you.
I have staff here from food distribution. If you have any questions on the peanut recall to, I meant to say that. I'm sorry.
You can go ahead and add it on the peanut recall. The good news is that I don't know if you all have heard from anybody that claimed they got sick. We haven't. I've been checking with all our 6 stores, and we haven't. And it should have happened by now. The onset of any symptoms it says a half a day to 3 days. It says 12 to 72 hours. So no news is good news at this point, I guess. But the only product that we had was peanut butter with a yellow top on it, and here's a picture of what it looked like. And there were 240 of these things that were recalled, 240 different products that were recalled. So the odds were this is just one of 240 possibilities. There was only one product that they found, and it wasn't this kind of peanut butter that had that salmonella that tested positive. So right now we're keeping our fingers crossed, our toes crossed, whatever, but as long as we don't hear about it real soon, I think we're probably 99% in the clear right now. Has anyone heard from a client, from one of our clients, from a problem member that says I got sick? So that's good news, like I said, And this was all given out in September, and the window, was half a day to 3 days. So I think we probably dodged a bullet, which is great news, and it's still good. It's a good product. A lot of people claim they ate it. They ate it, and I didn't get sick. My kids didn't get sick. The one that were most susceptible, as you might guess, would be the young kids that are the weakest, the old people like me that are weaker, or somebody that's got some kind of maybe they're undergoing cancer treatment or something like that. That they could get any kind of an infection and have a real problem with it. So, but knock on wood, I think we dodged the bullet this time. So far it's good news. No news is good news, and we haven't gotten any news other than inquiries. We got a lot of inquiries, phone calls, coming to the stores and saying, I ate that stuff, we ate it. It's already gone. But what we did to let you know that we put these together, and this is the sign that says, don't eat this. If you still got some left, this is what it looked like. Don't eat it. And when they came in and they signed up, this is what they saw on the front window. Then whenever they went around shopping on the shelf where the peanut butter used to be, this is all they saw hanging up there. And then when they went out the door, there was one of these on the exit door. So we hit them 3 different times to let them know. Try to get the word out.
And that was actually ahead of the game before he was actually notified, because he started getting calls, so he acted on it real fast before
Yeah,
the
how
USDA notified him.
how the internet gets around nowadays. Our kids that are on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, they know about it. We started getting things by email, from clients that had seen it on Facebook, on Twitter, and those sorts of things. And then the next day, USDA got in contact with us that this was happening. So we had a full day's head start on pulling this stuff off the shelves and just setting it aside. And what we did was we took it to the landfill and got rid of what we had. And we had 4,813 units, just jars of it that we buried at the landfill, when they told us to. So, like I said, hopefully we dodged the bullet, and we got lucky, and we're really grateful we did. Any questions? Thank you.
Good report. Thank you.
John,
My question was on the senior nutrition side. How many paid staff do you have that work that?
how many base staff?
Paid staff.
Paid staff?
Well, so we would, The 14 sites is, there are two that are unique. Is that right?
You know, it wasn't until a few years back that we were able to pay staff anyway. They were unionized and based. For years, we only had two paid staff. And I believe we still have a couple sites at the same. Yes, it is a situation where if we take on any more, then we're going to have additional funds to take on more staff.
Are we addressing those two that are?
We haven't had one request that I'm aware of. We could, but do you have one in mind that you're?
Well, for your old one I know about is not. I thought was not.
We have a oil, and it could very well be the only one.
Would that be in the budget?
It would be a budget issue if we haven't. If they requested a cook and we don't have one, okay. But I'll certainly follow up to make sure.
Would you mind doing that? Okay. Then you send it to all of us. Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Marshall. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is similar to Councilor Keener's question about the staff of the sites that are reflected on this map. Some of these sites are, or maybe all of them, but a few are in church buildings operated by nonprofits. Is that largely what it is? I know the one in Nowat is a Cherokee Nation-owned building with the staff. Is that the norm across these facilities, or is the norm more it's a community-type facility and we provide a staff person?
Yeah, all of them with the exception of Nowata. Nowata is the first site that we actually own and operate ourselves. All the rest of them are community-based.
Okay. And I've talked before with you all about as you get up into some of the northern areas where the population concentration is lower, I think there's a cutoff. They got to serve at least, is it 51%?
51% of the participant must be.
And that becomes a challenge up in some of these areas. And it's too bad because you have Cherokees that are deserving to live up there. They happen to live in a low concentration area, and I wish there was a way we could expand this. I know it's always about money, but I wish there was a way we could expand this because I hear such great things about these nutrition sites. They're really just a big part of the community, and I just wonder, are you guys looking at expanding in other areas? Do you guys have some kind of plan in the works, or just some way to evaluate the demand, that sort of thing?
We haven't had any plans, recently to do any major expansion simply because there wasn't funds available to do so. But you need to keep in mind that there's also a state senior nutrition program. And a lot of those sites out there that we don't participate with, they're getting state support to maintain their facility.
Just anecdotally, one of the sites in my neck of the woods, when they lost the Cherokee Nation food, it just went down because the quality of the food we provide is just so much better, and the service we provide. It's a tribute to us, but I know there are other resources out there, but I just think we do a heck of a job.
I know in the town I live in, Colport, Oklahoma, they have a senior nutrition program, but they weren't interested in participating with us because of the 51%. And they couldn't meet the 51%, so the state assists that particular site.
And then finally on Nowata, was it, refresh my memory, was there funding through USDA or something that helps us with the operational cost, or are we bearing all of that ourselves?
We are totally supporting that facility.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Thank you, Marcia.
I just want to tell you, I'm not contagious. My doctor, in a nice way, said I was just old and fat, so.
I think I'm going there. Mr. Qualls?
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, what's going around is the revision to our policies and procedures that was requested last month by this body. I believe we've made the changes that incorporate what you're wanting to have done. So review those, and at your convenience, you can correspond with myself or Mr. Qualls. We've also forwarded that on to administration to get their feedback and their concurrence on it. So, if you have any questions, feel free to get with us, and we'll be happy to address whatever you need to have done.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to turn to this sheet that's in your packet. It's rehab, emergency, handicap, accessibility, lake-based thing. It's a list of the number of rehabs, the rehab department. Some of those guys have been in rehab a long time. It's a one-pager. I don't have numbers on mine. Yeah, that's it right there. 50. You'll notice over to the far right, there's a total of 403. That indicates the number of rehabs that the housing department has done over the past, in this case, 11 months. There's one more month to add. What I really wanted to say is you'll notice the current month, it shows a total of 19, which is substantially lower than what the rehab group does in an average month. And the reason it's less is because near the end of the year, we run out of funds. And so just want to let you know what we're going to do this coming year is we're not going to do that. We're going to be monitoring our budgets a lot closer. And so that when we get near the end of the year, if there's funds available, we'll supplement the budgets instead of just running out, basically. So with that, if there's questions, we'd like to talk about them. Oh, first column is what's in the IHP, the estimated number of units that we would do. The next column is what we've done for 11 months, and the last one is for the 1 month. So the second to the last column is 1 month.
Any questions? Good report. Good report, Ron. Thank you. Mr. Cooper.
I wasn't aware of it till the very end, but you didn't get a report because I didn't have an electronic version of the report that used to go out to you. So I have one now, and it is going around to you. One of the things that I added to the report is on the back page. I have it broken down by county, and it has each one of the programs that we offer in housing. The top part is participants. Those are people who's on one of our programs right now, and you'll see it has insurance, it has low rent apartments, it has rental assistance, and then in rental assistance, there's regular rental assistance, temporary assistance, and college housing, home ownership programs, and then the Title VI and assumable mortgage programs. And it is broken down by county, so you can kind of get a quick synopsis of what types of programs and what type of impact housing has in each one of those counties. And then at the bottom part, should you have any questions or concerns concerning applications, that's how many applications we have for each one of those programs in our counties. I don't think that y'all had ever received anything like that in the past. That might be beneficial to you. The report on the front is the same report that David submitted before that gave a list of the foreclosures. There was 2 new ones that were on there. Those are all for the mortgage assistance program. Those aren't broken down. It's just kind of all encompassing. Those are where we have second mortgages, and we have assisted someone with mortgage assistance over the year. The second page, and I believe that there are a couple of public disclosures that need to be noted. And if y'all like the way this report is set up, just let me know, and I'll continue to do it this way. On the second page is the public disclosures. None of these have actually received assistance yet. These are applicants who have been, their applications have been pulled and they have been determined eligible. And then the last page of that report is a breakdown of, like I said, the program participants and the applications that we have on file right now today.
Ms. Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to clarify, because somebody asked me a question, we have to disclose the relationships for services, but we don't have to disclose the relationships for employment?
Yes. I mean, as far as I know, that's the case. I think that's covered under the disclosure for services is required under NAHASA regs. Under and Ron might yeah, it's directly required under NAHASA regs that we disclose each and every person who's getting services.
Okay.
And I even took it a step further, and we have actually taken it a step further in the past. We disclose anytime we actually go through and pull the application and update it and determine someone eligible, even though they may not actually receive that service yet, the chances of them getting a service is very likely. So we kind of took it to, and as far as I know, whenever they've asked for disclosures, that's kind of the report that's getting, and I just kind of clarified on there that those ones listed are pending service. They actually haven't received a service yet.
And I think our citizens appreciate that. But then there was a question about employment of relatives, especially around elected officials in the Housing Authority, and they were asking about that. But that's not going to be disclosed. That would be under like the Sunshine Act.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if that's something that is needed to be disclosed under the Sunshine Act, I'd be more than happy to do that. But no, it would be something separate here.
Thank you very much, Gary.
Okay. And then the other thing I have for you, I have real quickly. This isn't. I mean, don't think that this is the Bible or anything, because it's not. I real quickly put this together for each of you the other day. It's kind of, I put actually one together for our board members, and then I thought it'd come in handy for you too. This is just kind of a quick overview, just a quick reference guide for you as a council member, for our board members. Kind of tells who's who our people is, who our contact people is. If you open it up, it's just a quick reference to each one of our programs. It's broken down by department and kind of gives a breakdown of kind of what that service does, or where that program is located, or who that contact person is for that program. Over on that last flap on the inside is just kind of a program guide, and I try to keep it in alphabetical order. So it's just kind of the index, if you will, that says, okay, this program is, here's what it does, here's kind of the department it falls in, so you can go back over here and see who the contact person is. On the very back page is the telephone number and the address to each one of those offices we have out in your areas. The email address, as of right now, is still the same under Cherokee Nation. It's the first name hyphen last name at Cherokee.org. At some point in time, we plan on switching that over to Housing Authority, and if that's the case, that would be, I think we'd keep the same setup, but I'll let you know. But this was just kind of something quick that you could have. Keep it by your phone, keep it in your vehicle. If you need to know who to get a hold of for a particular thing, there's kind of just kind of a quick deal for you to look at.
Very good.
And then kind of as we go along, I'll give you all more updates and things along that lines. But we are working on getting everything together over at the Housing Authority, getting stuff set up, getting things going, taking a look at everything from when our offices are open in particular areas, to when it's staffed in particular areas. Do we have applications people out in particular areas, anything like that. So this is just kind of something to help you out if y'all need to get a hold of me. If you don't have my cell phone number, I think most of you do. My cell phone number is on the very front of that deal. But that's just kind of a quick deal for you to kind of reference. Should you have any questions or if you need to know anything, right there it is, you can give me a call.
This looks really good, Gary. This is your cell phone number?
That's my cell phone number on there.
That may be a mistake, Barney.
Well, and that's why I made it for you all and for our board members. So if for some reason you lose it, you don't have your phone handy, you need to get a hold of me. It's right there for you.
It's good.
And I put it on a bright sheet of paper for you so you can keep it with your other stuff. And whenever you need to call and grab someone out, you have my number.
Councilor Walkenstick.
Hey, Gary,
Yes.
this report,
Yeah.
is this year to date?
Yes. That's as of the end of the fiscal year,
Okay.
September 30th. And that's what I wanted you to have, is I wanted you to have a full and updated report as of the end of the fiscal year. So then, as we kind of go along, you can kind of see where we was and how we're doing from here on out. But that is as of, I actually ran all of those numbers as of the end of the fiscal year, which was September 30th.
Any other questions? Okay, Gary. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Roads and transportation.
Afternoon. Michael Lynn was unable to be here today. For those of you I haven't met, my name's Barry Hood. You have a copy of the report, so I guess if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Mr. Chairman, and I don't expect you to have this right at hand, but I saw that Pelivan did not report its ridership figures for whatever the most recent reporting month is. And I can't recall, is Pelivan typically reporting in a timely manner? That's one question I would have. And because I was curious about if our people are using Pelivan, particularly the on-demand rides that I think will increase because we got the nutrition center in Nowata. There's more of a need for it. So I was curious about those numbers. I know there's a lot of money that passes through Cherokee Nation to Pelivan, and they offer these rides. I just wonder if we're taking advantage of it.
We'll have to get that information for you, and I'll have it sent to you.
That'd be fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Commerce. Let's see, Hannah.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry Anna wasn't able to be here this afternoon. She's at a conference in San Antonio. So you should have a copy of our report, and there's just one quick thing I wanted to point out. We've gotten an update since this report was submitted on the mortgage settlement that Oklahoma agreed to. We've talked about this a couple of times, but Oklahoma is the only state in the nation that wouldn't agree to the national mortgage settlement, so they negotiated their own settlement with the 5 major banks. Today, the Oklahoma Attorney General made an announcement and said that 700 Oklahomans applied for relief under Oklahoma's mortgage settlement. The average settlement is going to be about $11,000. They've approved 100 of those 700 applicants so far. They're still in the process of reviewing those applications and determining who has been approved. They said financial settlements will range between $5,000 and $20,000. They aren't sure, the last time I spoke to them, they weren't sure yet if all of the funds were going to be dispersed directly to individuals, but we are going to be submitting a request for any remaining funds for Cherokee Nation to administer if there are funds left over. So those guidelines haven't been distributed or even developed. I shouldn't say distributed yet. They haven't even been developed by the Oklahoma Attorney General's office yet for requesting those. We're just going to go ahead and put a proposal together, send it to them. Hopefully we'll get funded if there's any money left over. If you have any questions about that, that's really all the information I have right now, but I do have a contact there in the AG's office, and I certainly don't mind to contact them and try to gather more information.
Jody?
Could you send us the policy and explain to us? I talked to you earlier about
The mortgage assistance? Yes, ma'am. I will.
Excuse me.
I'll send that to you. Well, what Jody had contacted me about today was, I assume this came from a citizen inquiry, but Jody was wondering why we don't allow people to purchase a used single-wide mobile home with mortgage assistance funds, but we will allow them to purchase a used double-wide used double-wide mobile home. Basically, it has to do with structural soundness of the mobile home. The single-wide mobile homes, when they go from the lot to wherever they're going to be set up, I just have to say they aren't the most sound. They aren't always the most structurally sound homes. But then once you move them from that site back to another mobile and then to a second site, then you get into real structural soundness issues, damages to the mobile home during transportation. And so we've just made a policy decision several years ago to not allow the use of MAP with used single-wide mobile homes.
I don't understand that because you take the double wide apart and move it down the road.
Yes,
so
you do.
basically, you're moving a single wide down the road.
Yeah. And quite honestly, like I told you earlier today, we had spoken to some of the former housing authority employees who kind of helped us make those policy decisions before we implemented them, and I would certainly be glad to have those conversations again to refresh my memory as well.
Could you find out and then send whatever you have to the entire council that no longer talking to the chief about changing?
Sure, no problem.
Simon?
Just one question on that. Now, that doesn't preclude them from buying a new double wide, right?
No, ma'am, it does
But
not.
They can actually buy a used one if they want to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, back to my original thought on the foreclosure. You say there's 700 people applied, and it's going to average about $11,000.
That's what they announced today.
Around $8 million.
Something like that.
And the state got 28 million.
18 million, almost 19 million.
And there's no, the state doesn't get to keep the difference, right? They've got to give it out. Is that what?
Not necessarily. They don't have to give it out, but the Oklahoma State Attorney General's office has said that they will give it out. They have said that all of the settlement funds will be provided to Oklahoma residents. So what some of the states did in a national settlement was they got settlement funds, and I don't know if any states actually did this, but theoretically they could have, if another state got $19 million, they theoretically could have just taken that $19 million and put it in a gen fund account to be used for any purpose not related to housing or foreclosure. Oklahoma negotiated their own settlement, and the Oklahoma AG's office has said that almost that night, it's $18.6 million would be distributed to Oklahoma residents.
And what would our application be to the state?
We haven't put that proposal together yet, and we want to talk to administration, and we'd like to get some feedback from the council about what the uses of those funds should be. But it obviously would be foreclosure prevention or foreclosure mitigation, or helping those people who have been foreclosed upon gain access to other housing.
Is there a possibility that we can use it to establish a fund to buy some of the foreclosed homes back to use for other families that meet our requirements?
Absolutely anything's possible at this point. So,
or it could be used prior to them totally losing their home. We could possibly help them buy out of the situation.
Right. Yes.
And do we know, are there going to be other tribes, a number of other tribes making application?
There will be other nonprofits making application. I assume other tribes will be making application as well.
All right, thank you. Would you keep us advised of that?
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on. No old business, new business. Simon or Chuck? You want to speak on this one? Okay.
You want me to take it? What this is I was notified by a couple of the 4-H offices that there is a program for small animals, which includes rabbits and chickens. And it's a program that is 21 county wide, which includes the 14 counties that encompass the boundaries of Cherokee Nation. And they were being funded with a $6,000 grant from Creek Nation. Creek Nation got new leadership, and they decided to no longer fund them because most of the children were Cherokee. So they have come to Cherokee Nation to ask if Cherokee Nation would consider funding them in some amount so they can keep the program going. A lot of kids cannot afford a pig or a lamb or a steer or a heifer, but they can afford chickens, they can afford rabbits, and that is their main project. In fact, when I put this on the agenda, I thought I would need a resolution, but I since discovered that really what I need is just the will of the body, that they want to change the policies that we put in place to utilize our livestock show money. We've routinely, since we started funding, our livestock show winners have had anywhere from 11 to 13,000 left over each year. And that is a fund, kind of like the cemetery fund, kind of like the nutrition sites. We can put more money in them as we need it. So I'm asking you all to consider as a body that we modify the policy for the livestock show funds to include funding of this Northeast Oklahoma Small Animal Project, which encompasses every one of your counties. And that's what I have on the agenda today. And I believe Chuck also you were contacted up in your area by your 4-H president too.
Was contacted from Nowata County, and Speaker's right. There's some kids that just don't live on a really a farm where they could even accommodate some of the larger animals, where they can do rabbits, and they're just struggling because of the loss of this fund. So if we needed the form of a motion, I'd make it, but just to direct the administration to alter the policy.
I think it just takes a policy change. I don't think they even need a resolution. The total project for the 14 counties cost $6,000. Of course, they would love to have whatever we would allow them to have, but we can take over what Creek Nation's part was for $6,000. And apparently we have something like 400 Cherokee children involved in this project. And the Creeks did not have that many, so they didn't want to sponsor anything.
I would like to be added as a sponsor. And is it possible for 4-H to kind of report back to us their actual outcomes and how many citizens are affected?
I wouldn't think that would be any sort of problem at all. They would have been glad to come and give a presentation if we needed it. And I didn't know what time was going to allow that or not.
I just think, I don't know how often they should report, but just a written report, the impact of the money would be great from my perspective, and I know how it affects our kids in our area.
Actually, who did I tell? Did I tell you that you had the champion rabbit or something up in your area? I can't remember what it was. Champion rabbit. It's actually not, Cherokee County beheld, but the champion chickens, I learned later, was over in Adair County. So I think that they might be doing something to the water over there.
Yeah.
What have they done to land here?
$15. That's American.
Councilman Jory Gordon. Who has the ultimate oversight of this? Is it by county? Or?
No, it's the 14 or 21 counties that went together. They have actually elected some of the county agents to be over this project, as I understand it. And the reason I knew about it was their leader is our 4-H agent here in Cherokee County of this whole group.
So it's kind of like the county agents then are...
It's really set up just like the livestock shows. Like when you go to Muskogee, there's a governing committee and it's all made up of 4-H and FFA employees. And it's set up, I guess, along the same way, but it's just animals that don't cost near what the bigger animals cost. Yes, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I think this is a good idea. A lot of people don't have those things, but I just wanted to mention that a few years ago, there's an individual down in Dallas, I believe it was. He had this rooster, and he kept it in the bathroom, and he went all over the state showing it, and he missed about half of his education a year, and we don't get that carried away, but it really happened that you keep that rooster in the bathtub and you go to the fair and show it every week. So he missed school, and it wouldn't be a good deal for that. But I think what we're going to do is going to be perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Keaton?
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, I'd like to add that as a sponsor, and also I'd like to recommend that as part of a 4-H project, maybe we could help them by letting them present to us, and I think they would get some points, wouldn't they, on the 4-H project?
I think when they're public speaking, that would help.
Right. So I think as a body, I think all of us would like to hear a presentation from them, help them at the same time help them with their project.
Maybe we could do his 4-H president first, because I think this is a really, really big project up in your area. And I know that being in leadership, they would benefit from giving a talk. Our kids here are mostly younger ones, but some of the counties have over 17 and 18-year-olds.
I think we should encourage that public speaking and encourage them in their endeavors. I think it's a good idea. Thank you, Chair.
At this time, I'd probably like to ask if we could do a will of the body, though. Before we do that, would everybody like to be added as a sponsor? So let's just do a will of the body. All in favor of this, say aye.
Aye. And if not doing a resolution, we would just take this back to admin that we would like the policy modified to include this area under our livestock show funds to make sure that there's continued funding for this program. And I believe I know the Creeks were funding it for $6,000. Is that the will of the body then, that we see that this small animal project for the 14 counties is sponsored in that amount so they can,
Sounds like it. Yeah. We're picking up the creeks, right?
We're taking over where the Creeks left off. When the new leadership came in, they did not want to sponsor it any longer because there was a lot more Cherokee children than there were Creek children, is my understanding. And I'm not saying that badly. I'm just saying that's what they chose to do. And we have an opportunity, because it mainly is Cherokee children, to cover the program. And all they asked for was $6,000, so I guess they make it on that.
Could those Cherokee kids that live like in Gates and Bixby and places like that where they're outside of our jurisdiction?
There's actually 21 counties covered by this program, and I can get a map for us. My interest at the time when they talked to me was, were all 14 of our counties covered, which they were, but there's an additional 7 more counties that are covered, which I'm going to assume are along the fringes.
Will we be able to help those Cherokee students?
Well, if we give to this project, it will help all 21 counties, which it'll be our 14, and then there's 6 more. And I did not ask about that deal, but I'm assuming they were all contiguous, so they have to be right close to our 14 counties.
This will cover all kids, not just Cherokee.
It'll cover everyone that's in this program. They have it set up just like livestock shows. They go somewhere every weekend and they take their little pen of animals, their little rabbit or their chickens or their rooster, and they groom them and get them all ready. And I'm not sure how you show a rabbit or a chicken. I don't know if you get it out of the cage, and I've not been to one of these. I mean, my grandchildren are not in this, but I know that 4-H is trying to get to a place where they can cover a child where it's affordable for everyone. And this is a huge area now, because it doesn't take much to feed them and doesn't take much space, and it's very popular. It's growing more popular, actually, than the bigger animals are, because a lot of kids can't afford the bigger animals. And we're covering the bigger animals through our livestock show funds, And we cover all of these projects through our youth assistance funds. If they'll come do those hours, then we'll give them money to use for their projects. And the good thing about this, and I guess I can't say this too much, is if they're doing that all the time, they're not getting into trouble. It's just like us sponsoring ball teams. Anything that keeps those kids from getting in trouble on forward. So I will send that with y'all's blessing to admin, and we'll try to get it put in the policy.
I would say at this time that let's nominate Madam Speaker to take this to admin and present the will of the body. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
That's it. That's it.
I will also, Chairman, I will also ask that periodically they give us update what's going on through our regular report of Sunday orders.
Are there any announcements?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
10-minute break.
Nope.
Should have held them right here. No.